Hi guys. So you all remember the story of the sad story, tragic story actually, of 5 years old Hanifa Abubakar, who was killed after being kidnapped in December 2021, but was found to have been killed in January 2022. It was a very terrible period then for her family, Kano State, and in fact, Nigeria as a whole. Many people took to the internet, different social media platforms to express their pains, their disappointment, their anger at the news of how Hanifa was kidnapped and killed. Even more painful was the discovery then of who was alleged to have killed Hanifa, who was Abdulmalik Usman Mohammed, the proprietor of Hanifa's school, the Nobel Kids Academy in Kano. So it all started on the 2nd of December 2021 when Hanifa attended the Sheikh Dahiru Bauchi Islamic Foundation in Kano. And it was from there that the little girl got missing. It turned out she was kidnapped because few days afterwards, her mother began to receive text messages from an unknown person who gave the impression that he had kidnapped Hanifa. And this person, this kidnapper, went on to demand for 6 million naira ransom. Now, her parents were really distraught at the time and they didn't really know how to go about it. But Hanifa's mother, whose elder brother is an officer in the Nigerian police force, decided to talk with her brother, and she told her brother that the kidnappers had cautioned her not to get the police involved, which is their usual way of operations anyway. And her elder brother did say to her that they were not illiterate. There was no way they weren't going to get the police involved, that they had to get the police involved. And they did got the police involved. The police referred them to anti-kidnapping squad, and thereafter the DSS got involved and began to work closely with them. And after this kidnapper demanded for 6 million naira ransom, they didn't have the money, but they decided to play a trick just in an attempt to see if it was going to work. So Hanifa's mother said she stuffed a bag with some of her curtains, and on top of it, she arranged the sum of 100,000 naira. And the kidnapper had provided a location where he said the money should be dropped at, somewhere around the Kwankwasia village in Kano. So her brother and her husband took the bag to the said location and they dropped it there and left. She said 30 minutes afterwards, she got a call from the kidnapper and he said to her, are they trying to play with his intelligence? Why would they send him 100,000 naira in place of 6 million naira? Like, how did 6 million naira become 100,000 naira? And she said she pleaded and said, it's because we don't have the money. And she said at that point, she pleaded with the kidnapper to give her a discount. Now, while she was recounting this particular experience, she broke down in tears, and it was really heartbreaking to watch because she said she couldn't believe she was bargaining the life of her own daughter. She was asking for a discount. It's really heartbreaking. And at that point, the kidnapper then said he had discounted 1 million naira, so she was going to pay him 5 million naira instead of 6 million naira. So he asked her to deduct the 100,000 naira from 5 million naira, which she would then send to the location again. That's deducting the 100,000 naira she had given to him earlier. So at this point, she will be sending 4.9 million naira. And she agreed. But at this time, they were already working closely with the anti-kidnapping squad and the DSS. So on the said day they were given to provide the money at the location, it turned out to be the same location where he had given them to drop the first money. So this time around, they specifically requested that her older brother should deliver the money and he should deliver it alone. So her elder brother took the money to the location, dropped it, but the DSS was also working behind closed doors. So when the brother dropped the money and left, in less than 30 minutes, a young man walked towards the bag in an attempt to pick up the money, and he got surrounded immediately by the DSS. And they began to question him, what are you doing here? Because it was around 7 p.m. he asked them to drop the money, and he said he wanted to ease himself, that he wanted to interview a teacher for his school. So that was why he was around there. He was there to interview a teacher whom he wanted to hire in his school. For God's sake, where on earth do you follow a prospective employee to their residence or to wherever to interview them? I'm sure he was lost. He didn't really know what to say, but he didn't expect that. And he got arrested immediately, and the police began their investigation. And during their investigation, this man turned out to be the proprietor of Hanifa's school, the proprietor to Nobel Kids Academy, and also the West Side Preparatory School. He was the proprietor of both schools. Now, he disclosed to the police during interrogations he had killed Hanifa. Sadly, 2 weeks even before that time, he had killed Hanifa. So even the times where Hanifa's mother was asking for proof to know that her daughter was actually in his custody, he did send her send her pictures of Hanifa, her school badge, the Islamic school badge, and also her sweater and her hijab. But even while he was sending all those things to prove he had Hanifa in his custody, he had already killed Hanifa. Now, why did he kill Hanifa? So it turned out when this man kidnapped Hanifa, he took her to his house. And he said he later realized that Hanifa recognized him, and he became scared if he let her go, she was going to disclose who she had been with, and they would find that out. So he decided to buy a rat poison and poison the little child. He poisoned that little child, and she died. When she was dead, he proceeded to sever her body parts. He butchered her, packed her body pieces in a sack, and then proceeded to one of the schools where he was a proprietor, precisely the Northwest Preparatory School, and he dug a shallow grave. Of course, he was accompanied by his accomplice, Hashimu Isiaku, and they dug a grave and buried Hanifa. He led the police to that shallow grave, and the remains of Hanifa was exhumed. He was charged to court alongside his accomplice and also one other, Fatima. The prosecution during the trial called 8 witnesses and tendered 14 exhibits. Among the witnesses that were called by the prosecution were Hanifa's mother, the DSS who arrested the proprietor Abdulmalik, and also the police officers who investigated the case. And the exhibits, amongst the exhibits tendered were the sweater of Hanifa, the school badge, the hijab, the pictures that were taken, and among other things. The prosecution successfully proved their case beyond reasonable doubt. And today, being 28th of July 2022, judgment has been delivered on this matter, and it suits me. It's so refreshing for me to inform you that Abdulmalik Mohammed Usman has been found guilty for murdering Hanifa alongside his accomplice Hashimu Isiaku. Both of them have been found guilty of the murder of Hanifa, and they've both been sentenced to death by hanging. Abdulmalik was also sentenced to 5 years imprisonment for the other count charges, 4 other count charges, and Hashimu was sentenced to 4 years imprisonment. And the prosecution could not really prove abatement against Fatima. So she was sentenced to 1 year imprisonment for conspiracy, I think, and another 1 year for another count charge. I think in total of 2 years. So it feels so good to know that justice has been served in the brutal killing of 5 years old Hanifa, an only child of her parents. For Hanifa's parents, there is no balm that can soothe their pains but the balm of justice. And it is so good to know that this balm has been served. The long arms of the law did what they know how to do best. They caught up with Abdulmalik Mohammed Usman. And we hope that this will serve as deterrent to other people of like minds. It is too much already in this country. So guys, be a good citizen. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to the people around you. Take care of your mental health. Take care of your emotions. And always be a good citizen. If you enjoyed watching this video, please like it, share it, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I remain Dorcas Ige Oluokun, and I love you all.